everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back doing something that I'm really passionate about, but I'm also hesitant about it too because I don't really think many people read these days, but I love reading. I just want to share some of my favourite books and recommend some stuff. Maybe you can then feed back to me. I would love to start a book club. I know that sounds really geeky, but I don't know, maybe like 1 month on Instagram we can like start something. I don't know, it's just what's going through my head at the moment because I've got my reading buzz back. I went through a stage for a couple of months where I really struggled to get into a book, and I've read a book which has got me back on the ball. So today I'm going to share with you 4 series that I'd recommend. The type of genre I read, I'm 24 and I read teen books or young adult, YA. I like to read sort of like dystopian sort of style. So when I say dystopian, if you don't know what that means, it sort of means like a corrupt government. For example, Hunger Games, Divergent, they're the big ones out there. Obviously I'd recommend those, but these ones are sort of like, they're quite big, but they're not as big as Hunger Games. So that's the sort of style I like. Some of them are sort of aimed at teenagers because obviously that is the genre that I read, but I do really enjoy it and I find it really easy just to fly through them, and I love them. If I didn't like them I wouldn't be sat here today recommending them to you. So the series is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. So these are the spines. Let's just take a minute. Love the spines, they're beautiful. So you've got book number 1, which is To All the Boys I've Loved Before, book number 2, which is P.S. I Still Love You, and then the newest book, which is Always and Forever Lara Jean. I love these books so much. I'm now currently working my way through this one, the last one, so I can't tell you how it ends. I wouldn't anyway because I don't want to spoil them. So the problem with what I'm doing is I'm recommending series, but I can only really talk about book 1 because if not I'm going to ruin the rest of the series for you. So what I will do is I'll read the back of each book and I'll also give you a little summary as well. So it says, Lara Jean's love life is about to go from imaginary to out of control. Lara Jean's song keeps love letters in a hat box her mother gave her, one for every boy she's ever loved. She can say anything she wants because the letters are for her eyes only until the day they're sent out. So this is aimed at teenagers 100%, but I think that's why I liked it. It made me reflect back to my childhood and what I would have done if I was in the situation, and I found it really funny. So you pretty much get the gist. She writes letters and they get sent out, and it's about her story and how these boys that she hadn't spoken to for so long, or she avoided, then come back into her life. Lara Jean is a sister. She's got 2 sisters called Kitty and Margot, and it deals with their relationship as well. She is the middle sister, Kitty is the youngest, Margot is the eldest, and she actually goes off to Scotland to study. So it's about that sort of long distance relationship but within your family. So the main guy in this book is called Peter, and he is your typical popular guy, and it's great to see their relationship. I read this whole book that has got over 400 pages in it. I read it in one day. I read the second one in one day as well, and I'm currently working my way through this one. It's taking me a little bit longer because I just don't have time that I did when P was younger when I read these. I laughed, I cried, it made me smile from ear to ear. I would give it 5 stars. This series is a series that I would love to forget and then start again because it was so magical. I absolutely loved it. I will leave links below. I will try and search online for the cheapest place possible. If you don't mind secondhand books, I will also leave a link to, it's called worldofbooks.com. Very hit and miss. A couple of orders I've had, the books have been fantastic, and then I did another one and it wasn't so good, but the customer service has been great and they're sending me out a new one. Going off topic here, but if you don't mind secondhand books for cheaper, they're like £2.70 with free postage. I'll leave a link below. If you've read them, let me know what you think. But yeah, first book series, To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Fantastic series. Stepping away from your sort of teenage lovey-dovey high school series, I will be recommending you one that I can only describe as similar to Hunger Games, which I don't like to do, but it's the only book that I know of that is relatable, I guess. So I wasn't going to recommend these because there's only 2 out and I believe it's a trilogy. However, the publisher hasn't picked up the 3rd book yet, so I don't know if it's ever going to get released. But I love them so much, I figured I'd put them in the video anyway. So currently there are 2 books. There is a 3rd written, I believe. She's waiting for it to get published. If not, I think she's going to release it online. This series, honestly, I loved it. I check her Instagram every week to see if there's an update on the third book. So, book number 1 is Fire and Flood. Let's just take a minute to appreciate this cover. I absolutely love it. It is beautiful. Look at the spine, all about that. And it's like matte, it's beautiful. Let me try and give you an up close shot. Look at that. It's like matte. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. So that's the first one. Second one is called Salt and Stone. Again, beautiful, beautiful detailing. There's the spine look. Love. We'll only read the blurb again of the first one because if not it's going to ruin the story of this one. Teller's brother is dying. He's got cancer and Teller is helpless to save him, or so she thought, when an invitation arrives for Teller to compete in the Brimstone Bleed, a deadly competition that will lead her to treacherous jungle and scorching desert. She doesn't think twice, because the prize is a cure to any illness, but Teller will be facing more than just the elements. So, the premise of this book. Like I said in the blurb, she gets an invitation to compete in the Brimstone Bleed, and you compete to get a cure for any illness. So obviously she's going to do it for her brother. The Brimstone Bleed takes part over 4 different ecosystems. So in the first book it starts off in the jungle and then it goes to the desert, and then in the second book it starts at the sea and then it ends in like snowy mountains. Book 1, it's really good. There are lots of twists in it which I don't want to ruin because I went into it not knowing anything and I was really pleasantly surprised and I absolutely loved it. I flew through this really quickly. I read this a couple of years ago so it's a little bit hazy in my memory, but it's definitely something that I want to reread. There are things called Pandoras. This sounds weird but stick with me. So when they go into the Brimstone Bleed you have to like go and get something first and they get these eggs. And then you have to keep it with you at all times, and then whilst you're competing in the Brimstone Bleed it sort of hatches. I don't want to say the word Pokemon because I think that will put a lot of people off, but these animals hatch out of these eggs and they're companions and they help them progress within the competition. So she has a little black fox called Maddox and they basically have like powers or abilities to help their person go further with the competition. I hope that makes sense. There is a love interest in this. His name is Guy and I really like the way those two work together. It's also really about friendship and how they come together, but do you trust them or do you stick on your own? It's a lot of mind games in this book and I really liked it. So that is Fire and Flood by Victoria Scott, and then the second one is Salt and Stone, and I really hope she releases a third because loved these. The book I've just recently finished is Dream a Little Dream by Giovanna Fletcher. This book is definitely aimed at adults just because it's a little bit raunchy and there's swear words in it. So, the blurb. Sarah is doing just fine. Sure, she's been single for the last 2 years and has spent an uncomfortable amount of time around her ex-boyfriend and his perfect new girlfriend and all their mutual friends. And yes, her job as a PA to one of the most disgusting men in London is mind-numbingly tedious, and her career is a constant disappointment to her mother. But she really is okay. She's happy-ish. So it's not surprising that when Sarah starts dreaming about a handsome stranger, she begins to look forward to falling asleep every night. Reality isn't nearly as exciting. That is until her dream stranger makes an unexpected real-life appearance, leaving Sarah questioning everything she thought she wanted. Because no one ever really finds the person of their dreams, do they? So obviously this book is about a girl called Sarah. She works in London as a PA and she's got a really great group of friends, and that is what made me warm to the book immediately. I love the dynamic of it. They're adults to me. I'm an adult, but I don't do what they do. They go to the pub and they socialise and they do pub quizzes and they're a really close-knit group of friends, and I don't have that. So I absolutely loved that. I will say that a part of the book I didn't really like, if I'm being honest, I skim read it and pretty much skipped through it. So the premise of the book, I'll quickly show you, is she obviously has dreams. You do need to read them, but I just skim read it because a lot of it was not really necessary. There were some important parts, but a lot of it was just gobbledygook. So I don't know if you can see, but the first page is all italicised and then it goes to normal. So the italicised font is obviously when she's in a dream, and then normal is when it's normal. I'm great at describing things. So I did skim read a lot of the dreams, but like I said, there are some important ones in there. Beside the dreams, I really enjoyed the book. I loved, there are some like issues in here, like emotional issues that I really liked. She was torn at one point in the book where she was extremely happy but also extremely sad, and it was really nice to see how she dealt with the situation and how much of a great friend she was. There were surprises in here. I would like to think that Giovanna Fletcher will do more books in this series, because the way that it ended, you could tell that it could go on for more. It could be a standalone, which at the moment it is. There is a novella called Dream a Little Christmas Dream, which I haven't read yet, but it's literally a tiny, it's not even a book, I think it's less than like 50 pages. Don't hold me to that, but I know it's minimal. It's like just a bonus couple of chapters over Christmas time. I recommend it. It took me probably about 100 pages to get into it, and then I flew through it, and then on the last night I stayed up till 1 o'clock because I just had to find out what happened and where the characters would go. I love the main interest in this. I see a lot of myself in the character. She can be quite standoffish and quite rude, and she doesn't mean to do that, and when she says it, she thinks she's being an asshole, and I don't know, I really liked it. I found it really funny. So if you want something that's a little bit more adult-like and not teen-like, I definitely recommend Dream a Little Dream. And then the final series that I've got to recommend, I read last year, and oh my god, I flew through it. Like, just thinking about it makes me want to reread it again because I absolutely loved it. I would recommend this series to anyone. It's such a like easy read, fantastic. I just loved it. Again, if I could forget a series, I would also forget this one and reread it again because I just loved it. So I've actually got the American versions of these ones. I don't know where Neil got them from. I got these for my birthday last year. So it comes in 2 different parts. Don't be scared as to how many books there are, but you can literally just read the first 3, and then the other 2 are a spin-off off of this one. I preferred these ones. A lot of people don't like the second 2. I see why, but because I was a huge lover of the selection series, I continued to read them. Also quickly show you the difference between American editions and UK editions. They are slightly different in size. So I don't know if you can see, but the American is a little bit taller and a little bit wider. American editions are also floppy, whereas the UK editions aren't. They're like really hard, whereas this is, I just love the American editions. So if you can get your hands on American ones, definitely recommend. So the selection series, I just dropped the rest of them. So you've got the selection. Let's just take a minute also and appreciate how beautiful these covers are. So that's the selection, that's book 1. Book 2 is the Elite. Book 3 is the One, which is probably the beautifulest cover I have ever seen in my life. Love it. So the selection series. For 35 girls, the selection is a chance of a lifetime. The opportunity to be swept up in a world of glittering gowns and priceless jewels, to live in a palace to compete for the heart of gorgeous Prince Maxim. But for America Singer, being selected is a nightmare. It means turning her back on her secret love with Aspen, who is a caste below her, and leaving her home to enter a fierce competition for a crown she doesn't want. Then America meets Prince Maxim. Gradually she begins to realise that the life she's always dreamed of may not compare to a future she never imagined. Oh, I just loved it. So if any of you have watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, this is like that. If you know me, you'll know that that's one of my favourite programmes, which I think is why I loved it so much. And the main character is America. Again, she is a sister. She has got an older brother that she doesn't see, and then I think she's got an older sister and a younger sister. I can't remember because I read it so long ago and I read it so fast. Like the blurb mentioned, there are things called castes, which basically mean it's ranked from 1 to 8 or 9, I think. 1 is obviously royalty, like you are the elite, and 8 is where you're pretty much a peasant, you're a scum, and you just try and get by. She is a 5, and basically Prince Maxim is looking for a wife, so he holds a competition to meet his wife. So you apply and you send in your photograph, and then if you get accepted, you then go to the palace for however long until like the competition is done and he's found the person that he wants to be with. He decides that you're not the person, then he'll just send you home, and that is where it all starts. I love the relationship that America has with the girls within the palace and also with Prince Maxon. They strike up a deal. Again, I'm not going to say anything, but it works in both of their favours. I feel like from the outset they both know where they stand and what they want. She's such a strong character and so is he, and I just love the dynamic of the two together. Obviously you've got her love interest from before she went into the palace called Aspen. It's also about her family and wanting to get away, but then she's also living a life of luxury and she feels guilty about it. It's just so good. It's also about a corrupt government as well, which again I really like, because obviously they're royals, they're in charge, but it's not the way that people want it to go. There's like riots and everything, so you've got a little bit of action in there as well. It's not just lovey-dovey. If you like The Bachelor and you like the sound of like royals and issues within royalty, definitely check these out. I think you can get these really cheap as well. I'll try and find a nice link for you. The spin-off I'm not even going to discuss because it'll ruin the first three. Like I said, you can read the first three and forget about these ones, but I really liked these ones as well. Not as much. I definitely rate these like a 5 out of 5. These are 4 out of 5, only because I loved the characters in these. So we have got The Heir, which again is an absolute beautiful cover, and then we've also got The Crown, which again, all of these covers are beaut. So these are the other two to go along with these. So that is all the books I'm going to recommend you today. I feel like I've rambled for such a long time about books, but I've just been so excited to do this. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below if you've read anything, if you've got anything to recommend me off of what I've recommended you. If you want to start a book club, leave me a comment below. I'm sure we can get something sorted, because I would love to do something like that, because I love reading. And when I read, I don't have anyone to talk to about it. So I just go online and look at book reviews and read people's comments. But I would love to actually discuss it with someone. So, without sounding weird, I hope that comes across really well. I hope you all enjoyed this video and this concept. Please let me know if you do. If not, I won't do another one. But I really want to, because I like books. I have issues. See you all in my next video. Bye!